Hello, NWOBHM here. Today it is the 2nd of June 2024. If I could ask a quick favour to begin with, and that's if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe me to the channel because that'd be great, big help. Please click the button if you would. Today we've got a real under the radar one for us from the new wave of British heavy metal days in the late 1970s. Do you remember a band called Medusa? Perhaps you don't. I didn't, for example. I didn't. However, the other day, email arrived from Helleven Records with new stuff they had in. And this was one of them. And when I looked at the cover and saw Steve Grimmett's name, my interest was somewhat piqued, shall we say. So on looking around to find a little bit more out about it, it appears that Medusa was a short-lived band from around about 1978, and a then 16-year-old Steve Grimmett was on vocals, and that is indeed the same Steve Grimmett who would go on to front up the magnificent Grim Reaper on their classics from the 70s, you know, in the NWOBHM days, such as See You in Hell, for example. But back to Medusa, they didn't get beyond recording a few demos, as far as I can find out, and it seems that they were released as Clash of the Titans earlier on, a couple of decades ago, around about 2004ish, I think. And I don't think there are any longer available. I think it was just a small label that did it. But that was until now, and now we've got this version of Clash of the Titans. Looks like it's a re-release by a label called Helleven Records. Don't know who they are, but anyway, these demos, Medusa's demos, on this release are accompanied by the addition of some live recordings. As for the music, it's full on, fast and heavy, as you might expect. You know, we got big cutting and slashing riffs, solos to match, and Grimmett puts it all in with that energy that he always had. You know, so rough, raw and ready, but still fun. And also, as well as doing the fast and frantic stuff, Medusa could stretch out a little bit, as there's a song called Conquest of the Skies, which is about 8 minutes, 7-8 minutes or so, a sort of a brooding atmospheric mini epic. And whilst Medusa went no further than these demos, Grimmett, of course, went on to Grim Reaper, and as I mentioned, their trio of new wave of British heavy metal classic albums in the 1980s, before they disappeared. However, you know, they would reform earlier on this century, and back in 2019, under the name of Steve Grimmett's Grim Reaper, they put out a fine album called At the Gates. But unfortunately for Steve, he fell victim to a nasty infection around about 2017, I think it was. And unfortunately, he did have to have his right leg amputated below the knee. And, you know, whether it was complications or that, I don't know. But he died a couple of years back, and he was only 62. That's not good, is it? But in addition to the Grim Reaper stuff, you know, these now rediscovered Medusa recordings are very interesting for that new wave of British heavy metal history and connection with Grim Reaper. I picked up a copy from Helleven Records. I'll put a link to that in the description underneath, and also a link to Helleven Records so you can have a look at them as well. But it's interesting stuff, and you know, it's always surprising, isn't it, how all this lost stuff from back then that you either can't remember or thought you'd never hear from again keeps cropping up. But it's more than a curiosity, you know, it's fun, good fun stuff, and of course it's Steve Grimmett. So there we are, that's Medusa and Clash of the Titans. Please do subscribe to the channel before you go, because that would be top stuff. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and take care.